Hello, everybody, and welcome to Two Shores, One Story. I'm your host, Matthew, and today we have a very special guest. Please, could you introduce yourself?
Okay. Hello, my name is Liam. I'm an ALT, probably the oldest ALT in Takayama, right? As in the amount of time I've been doing it, not my age. Well, I don't know, actually. I might also be the oldest ALT. I've been an ALT for 4 years. No, well, nearly 4 years in November. And yeah, I like football and hiking and speaking Japanese sometimes.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, out of the municipal ALTs, I think you are now the oldest in Takayama.
Yeah, I think I might be the oldest, unfortunately. I'm 29 years old. Not 30 before Matthew says that.
Not 30. Not yet. Next week. Next week?
No. A week and a day.
A week and a day.
I've got ages.
He has ages. Yeah, Anik, a week and a day. He'll be turning the big 3-0. It's very exciting. So I wanted to have you on the show because you are turning a big, it's 30 is a milestone. You're reaching a decade, another one. You passed another decade. And 20s are a pretty big time. I think they're, you learn a lot about yourself. You explore a lot of stuff. I don't know what the 30s are, so I hope maybe you can talk about that later. And also, since you have been here for quite a while, and for those who don't know, you can only be an ALT or a JET participant up until the 5th year. So this will be your last year on JET. So he has a lot of wisdom in his experience and his time as a JET. So for those who are maybe interested in going on the JET program, he is maybe a great resource because he has learned and lived a lot.
Yes. I actually do think I have a decent amount of knowledge about the JET program because I've done like you're the RPA now, but I've been RPA. I've been going over to Gifu and seeing how other areas are operating as ALTs and stuff, and I've been around longer than most people, so actually I think it's kind of unfortunate to say, but I am quite knowledgeable about JET program things.
I don't think that's unfortunate. I think it's good. We need people like that. It's because if everybody's new, it's going to be a lot of trouble. So it's always good to have someone a little bit higher up that knows what they're doing, that's a little bit calmer.
That was kind of the experience for me, though, coming to Takayama, because there wasn't really many. It was mostly new ALTs when I got here. I think Takayama, we had 6 or 7 ALTs all come at once after Corona. And so we did have a few senior ALTs to look up to, but they didn't interact too much with the younger ALTs. They were very much oh, you'll be fine, just go into it, do whatever you want. So it was difficult to, and they were, busy with their own lives and stuff. And they were all looking at moving on anyway, and going doing different things. So I feel when I came, our generation of ALTs just kind of had to figure everything out, and by ourselves. So it definitely isn't. I think the sort of situation right now in Takayama where there's a good, nice mix of people who've been here for a year, 2 years, 3 years, is probably a lot nicer for new ALTs to come into.
Mm-hmm. I, for one, when I started here last year, it was very nice to have people that knew what they were doing. So I definitely appreciate it. Yes. So I guess since we're on the topic of JET-related stuff, why did you become an ALT in the first place, if you can remember the reason?
Yeah, so when I got out of university, I was a little bit what am I going to do? Because my major was English and journalism. So I really enjoyed journalism and everything to do with that world, but job-wise, it's just not that good. You're so nowadays dependent on contracts and just selling your stories, and you kind of have to play it down. Like you can't really write what you want in journalism. You have to write what's going to sell and what papers want to buy. So I quickly kind of forgot about that. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And then I started editing at a firm, like doing academic editing, and it was really interesting. Like it was interesting for the first few years, but after a while, it became like not a challenge, and every day was kind of the same. And then, like one of my friends said he was gonna apply for the JET program, and to be honest, I didn't really know. I think I'm different to a lot of ALTs because I didn't know that much about Japan. Like I knew that people around me like loved anime and loved like I don't know, Japanese music and culture and stuff. And I always kind of had like an interest. I thought it looked cool, but it was never like I never like, when I was 22 years old, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go to Japan soon. It was more like upon learning about it, I was like, actually, that sounds like a fun thing to do, or like go into a new environment and like having to kind of build myself up from nothing. Like not even being able to talk with anyone sounds like really fun. And then teaching, like I always had an interest in teaching. Like for me, that was always in the back of my head. Like if I don't like where I'm going with my career, I'm just going to get into teaching. And to be honest, that's probably what's kept me here more than anything is like the job. Like I think lots of people have different things to say about being an ALT, and some people can be quite negative about it. But I've never been, honestly, since, well, maybe not the first year, but like after the second year, it's just been really fun and rewarding. You have great relationships with, your teachers and your kids. And it just feels like I'm excited to go to work, which has never been the case before. It's like you get up and you're like, oh, today I get to go and see my fifth graders. I get to see my sixth graders. Like, great. And you just kind of feel happy about it. So, but yeah, becoming an ALT, it was a kind of a bit of a random thing, I think.
Interesting. Yeah, I think in my case, I like knew about the JET program maybe earlier in my degree, and I was thinking of doing it, but also was kind of hesitant as well because I was like, I don't want to. I forgot what was the reason. I kind of forget, but I remember being hesitant at the start, but then near the end of my degree, I was like, yeah, that'd be good. I wanted to go to Japan again to work on my Japanese, so that was my reasoning. And I do agree that, yeah, the teaching kids, like the students, make it really fulfilling. There's other aspects of the ALT job that are kind of boring, but depending on how you use your time, it's okay. I can work on my Japanese if there's desk warming time or that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, just seeing my students and talking with them and greeting them at the start and helping them learn a concept is really good. So I guess you kind of answered it a little bit, like the job is fulfilling in some ways, but has that like kept you here? Was that able to, does that make sense?
You mean like as the job alone, like the fulfillment from the job alone, like made me want to keep recontracting? That's a big element of it. Like, if I didn't enjoy the job, like I wouldn't continue to do it, even no matter what the outside circumstances were. And like, to be honest, I've kind of enjoyed it like year after year after year, like more. It's just kept becoming more enjoyable, especially as like I think being an ALT, especially coming here with no Japanese, like every year feels a little bit different because you can speak a little bit more with the kids. You can take on more responsibilities. So what kind of started as I'm just stood at the school and feeling a bit awkward, and I can only speak in English. So, the kids will try and communicate with me, but they'll be a bit like it's a bit embarrassing for them, and it's a bit embarrassing for me because I feel like a kid just stood there unable to communicate. And then year after year, you just get a little bit more, well, you gain the knowledge. You're like, okay, well, this is the right thing to do when you're teaching kids, and I have more Japanese so I can speak with them and make better relationships. So like year on year, and then they know you for longer. Like, it can be, if you only have a teacher for 1 year, it can be maybe a little bit like distant, but I've been there for nearly 4 years. Like the kids, some of those kids were in, little kids when I came here, like little, toddling around, and now they're, not young adults quite yet, but much bigger than they were, and they're much smarter than they were. So I think that the fact that it evolves every year as well helped me keep coming back. And then other things, like I just felt like my life in Japan, it's like a lot of freedom to it. Like in the UK, like you say, in the UK, you feel like in my home country, like I'm kind of down a set path. Like now I need to start a career, and I need to do this, and I need to get a house, and then I need to start a family, or there's like a sense of like, well, this is this time in my life to go and do that. But in Japan, I'm just on my own, and it's like I can kind of do what I want, and like there's like a sense of freedom in living away from home. You're not so boxed in, and like sometimes I think getting to the end of my contract and thinking, am I going to stay in Japan? Am I going to leave? It's like, well, in Japan, like if I go back to the UK, I love the UK, but I might feel a little bit like I'm getting back in the box. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, I think I'm going to do another year every single time.
Wow. That's an interesting way to think about it. And yeah, I think, well, we're just away from a lot of people that are family, which is maybe a big factor in saying like, you got to do this, or why aren't you doing that? And other people around us. So there's definitely like less of that here. So it's interesting that you, yeah, say that it's free. I guess it is, yeah, in a way. So that's interesting. So you maybe talked about this a little bit, but maybe just more in detail. What do you think are the positives of being an ALT in Japan?
Like, I mean, the number one is just getting to spend time around the kids, and the kids, especially in this area of Japan, don't have too much. I mean, it is a touristy area, so they get a little bit of exposure to foreign people, but not a whole lot. And especially in my schools, I don't think they get a whole lot at all. So the fact that you can kind of show them that, foreign people are kind of just like you, like we're not so different, and we laugh at the same things. We just having that relationship with them makes it so worthwhile, and it's really fun. And I feel like I've learned a lot. Like before I came to Japan, I had this image in my head that kind of Japanese people and British people were really different, and like that was all kind of shattered when I came here. It was like, actually, these kids are a lot like I was when I was a kid. So it's like a journey of discovery, and it's just fun to just share that with them. Like they don't even look at you anymore like you're like a foreigner or anything. You just like, I'm just Liam to them. So like that, having that close of a relationship where they just learn to expect you and learn to really enjoy your time and stuff. And just walking into the school and then being like, oh, Liam, 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 like that, I'm running up to you. And like, yeah, I think with kids, well, that's great because they just like, with adults, of course, like the relationships are more difficult and they're more strained, like meeting new people and stuff. You constantly second guessing yourself. But with kids, they just don't, like they just love you for no reason. Like I just walk into my schools and some kid like in second grade, which I don't even teach, will run up to me like, Liam, like that, and like they're so excited to see you. It's just such a positive feeling in the morning to come in and have that. It's not like when I was back in the UK editing where you just come in and everyone's like, good morning, like that, and then you sit down at your computer for, I don't know, 8 hours and type away. So I think that's the best thing for me.
Yeah, I think that's a really good benefit of being an ALT. It's just special when like the kids just go up and like they're like Mashu, and they like say hi. And my grade threes are like so precious. Like I'll just walk into the class and immediately like 5 kids will want to do an arm wrestle with me, and I'm like, let's go. I'll beat you now, but maybe late in like 2 years probably beat me. But that's like that's so great to see, like when you make that connection with the kids. And it's, yeah, it's nice to see. And you feel like a celebrity when you're an ALT. Everyone's like, Mashu, when I'm outside or something, they'll say hi, and it's really interesting that way. Some ALTs don't like it, but I do. I like being a celebrity. I like getting the attention from my kids. It's just very heartwarming. Yes. So, in contrast, what are the negatives of being an ALT?
Fortunately, there's probably quite a few. Even though overall, like, I don't want to be another negative ALT that's like, oh, you get quite a few who are like, oh, I don't like doing this. But I love it, and I think it's definitely worth it. But no one can deny that there's like difficult parts or like unfulfilling parts of the job, I don't think. Like, you're just not a on two fronts, because one, you're not a full-time worker at the school. I have 3 schools, so I'm going into different schools all the time, and you're a foreign member of staff. There's kind of different rules for you, and a lot of the time it can be really like alienating. Especially when I first got here, I was coming away from my last job as well. I had quite like an important role there. Like, I was doing stuff in the hiring department, and like I had a lot of responsibility. And then suddenly coming into this environment where people are like people just actively, it felt like, didn't want my help. Like, I could be like, oh, like, I can help you with that. And like, no, okay, it's okay, just sit down, like, you do what you want. Like, and I was like, well, I want to help. I want to be in the school, and I want to help out and be a proper teacher and work as hard as I can. Like, that's why I'm here. And it felt like I was not really given that opportunity. Like, and I suppose my responsibilities have gone up here, but it's never like, for me, I've never felt like a full teacher here. And I feel like, sort of in Japan, unfortunately, a lot of like native Japanese teachers and just Japanese people in general tend to look at foreigners as less qualified or not seriously part of the team. Like, and I've learnt with ways to overcome that, and I get I have sort of learned to master that and like kind of push myself in and be like, no, like, I am part of this team. Like, it doesn't matter. You can try and kind of push me up. I'm going to push myself back in. But especially like when I first got here, first year was really difficult because really, really hard. 'Cause I just didn't feel like, in all aspects, but especially at work, you didn't really feel very taken seriously. And of course, I didn't like that. I felt like every interaction was like met with nervousness from the other side, or panic, or a little bit of, just like, I wouldn't say looking down on you is the right word. It's not like they look down on you. It's just every single sort of, interaction is like, you can't do what we can do. You're not as serious as how we are. And for me, like, at first that was really difficult. Yeah. And then I think apart from that, it's difficult about being an ALT. Yeah, there's a lot of, to be honest, obviously a lot of ALTs complain about the desk warming time. Like, in summer, you still have to go to school. There's no classes, in all the winter too. But I think if you can learn to use that time well, it's not so much of a negative. It has never really been too much of a negative for me, but there's definitely been days where I've been like, oh, like, just give me something to do. So, yeah.
So I'm guessing wondering, because you said maybe like the first year you maybe didn't have a lot of responsibilities as a teacher, but you said that you forced yourself in. How did you do that?
So this is my advice for like anyone who's coming to be an ALT and is like really serious about education. I had this advice from an ALT that he used to be an ALT in Takayama, but he left just before I got there. He finished. But he's a really, really nice guy, a really supportive guy. Name's Che. I remember like after, I don't know, about 8 months in the job, like we called each other and had a chat. And I was saying like, I just like, I don't know about this. Like, I was so excited. And like, the first 3 months were, I think, for everyone, like kind of amazing because you're in a new country, you're learning the language, like, everything's new. And then just suddenly, like, bang, it's like reality hits, and you're like, I've got no response. I'm sat in a school with no responsibilities, and I feel like I'm not doing anything in the lessons. And he just said to me, he's like, look, just find a way, and like, don't be uncertain about it. Don't like apologize for your existence. Don't walk up to your JTE, your like Japanese teacher of English, and be like, oh, like maybe I can do this lesson. Just say to them, like, don't be rude, but just say like, look, I can do this, and it's better if I do this because I'm the native English speaker, and this part of the lesson, and this part of the lesson, and this part of the lesson, it should be handled by me. And like, I also like, I'm a native English teacher, so for certain things, like obviously some of the test marking and stuff is in Japanese. Like, for example, there might be a question in English, but they have to write it out in Japanese. So of course the Japanese teacher is always going to be the one to answer that, to mark that question. But there's plenty of questions in tests and stuff that are just all in English. And it's like, well, I'm not, I can do a mark scheme. You know what I mean? Like, I can look at a mark scheme and know that that's right and tick it. And like, my JTs at the time, I was just like, look, I'm going to do this now, and I'm going to do that. And like, I'm sure it sounds a little bit rude coming like that, but the JTEs were actually quite happy about it after a while. Like, at first I could tell they were like, like not so sure, but I was like, I communicated with them and I was like, I'll get it. Like, if I kind of messed something up in the lesson, I'll be like, don't worry, like, I understand now. And I had good JTEs, like, that can't be understated. They were very, very like, yeah, like, you should, like, actually, at first they're a little bit apprehensive because they're like, well, this guy who's kind of like not been doing much in my lessons is suddenly going to be speaking for 60% of the lesson. Like, is that okay? But then it goes really good, and you can see how much it, like, honestly, you can see the kids change. Like, the kids are suddenly going from, because the kids treat you differently. If the kids see in the lesson that you just stood at the side of the room for like 80% of the lesson not doing anything, then the kids kind of come to think they're not stupid. They look at this person and think, what's that person doing? Why are they in this room? Like, it's nice to have a foreign person, but I don't understand. They're not helping with any of my lesson or anything. As soon as I started doing more in the lessons, the kids started interacting with me more. They were more excited. Like, when I asked them questions and stuff in the lesson, like, they wanted to get more things right. They enjoyed interacting with me. And then even outside the lesson, they became more like, oh, there's our teacher, So, yeah, like, just don't be shy about your existence. Don't apologize for being there. Like, you're there because the Japanese government, the people in charge of education in the Japanese government, want you to teach kids. They want you to have an active role in that classroom. And 9 times out of 10, the reason that isn't happening is because of awkwardness between cultures, that like Japanese teachers feel very shy to like say like, oh, do more. So they kind of just get used to ALTs sitting in the background. So you've just got to be a bit more proactive and be like, look, I'm going to do this, and then kind of get where the class you want to have, like, try and push to get that. I think it's the best way.
You're just such a wealth of wisdom. That was so well worded, and I feel like it's definitely something necessary for all ALTs who want to be an actual teacher. Put the T in ALT. It's very necessary, and I think I'm on my second year now, and I'm still struggling with doing that as well, because some of my JTs are more restrictive. But my ALTs, or not my teachers, my JTEs at my main school have been really helpful with letting me do things that I want to try, which I really appreciate. For example, I want to try and bring the textbook more to life than what it is. So I'm trying to bring real people and their stories into what the kids are learning. So, for example, my kids were learning about Singapore, so I had or I interviewed my friend from Singapore and asked her like different video or different foods and where she went, because that's kind of what they talked about in the lesson. And I made it a video. Now there was some problems with that video because we talked too fast or not clear enough. So now with the second video that I'm going to be making, I have made sure that that wasn't a problem so that my kids can learn it, and hopefully I can do more of that and be more of a useful teacher in the classroom to make it more fun. Right now I think I'm just like a person that does greetings and sometimes makes Kahoots, sometimes talk about my country, but there is more that I can offer, and I hope that, yeah, if you are an ALT and you want to do more, do what Liam said.
Yeah. Actually, I must, like, you were talking about that video and how, like, you know, she spoke too fast, or there was issues with the video and it didn't really like turn into the perfect lesson. But like that's the thing, like, you need to be put in an environment where you can be allowed to make mistakes, because all teachers, like, no one really starts their career as like a good teacher. Like, I remember the first time, I really do remember the first time I walked into my elementary school, and they didn't, you know, there's not much communication, and they thought like I was already had teaching experience. So I remember on like day 3 of being an ALT, I walked into my 4th grade at one of my elementary schools, and the homeroom teacher just thought that I was good to teach the entire class by myself. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, can't even read the textbook because like all of the instructions are in Japanese for what needs to be taught. And like, I'm just stood there and like, so I'm like, what? And you know, it was a disaster. It was like, I can't put it any other way. I was like, I thought it might have been easy to just be a teacher, but it's really difficult. Like, you're constantly like second guessing yourself, and if you don't have a plan, you'll just sink. Like, you'll dry up so quick. So having your JTE to be supportive and be like even if you screw up, even if it's not screw up, but even if like this isn't as good as what the JTE can produce, the fact that you're getting experience and then can go away and be like, okay, the next time I do that, I need to do this, is like so important. And I actually have a story about you. Yeah. So do you remember the Christmas? Me and Matthew did a Christmas shower together. And you had that game where they like the last letter of the. They had to guess. This like played a Christmas song, and then the kids guessed what they could see all the words in the sentence, and then they had to guess what the last word was. And when you told me about that, I remember thinking like and you proved me wrong, by the way. I remember thinking like, I don't think that's gonna work. Like, that's what I first thought in my head at that time. I was like, I don't think the kids are gonna get it at their age. I don't feel like they're gonna be able to, like, because in my head at that time I was like, well, if it's junior high school kids or high school kids, like, they can understand a bit of the grammar setup and they could have a good guess as to what's last. But they didn't need to do that at all. Like, all they needed to do was just give it a good guess, and like, they just enjoyed listening to the music and moving around and guessing and like seeing the words drop away and being like, oh, I wonder if it's going to be mine. And they're paying attention to they're paying attention to the words on the screen, so they're looking and actually interacting with English. And it was like probably one of the I think it was the best activity of that Christmas shower. And like, I could have, like, if I had a bit less experience, I might have been like, nah, Matthew, like, I don't think that's the one. But I don't know, just to like step back and be like, even if I don't think it's going to be a good activity, like, it'll be at least a learning experience for Matthew, and you never know. Maybe it's going to be great and I'm going to learn something instead, and I'm going to learn that my ideas aren't always correct. And that was absolutely yours was much better. Like, it was a good activity in the end. So yeah, allowing an environment where other people can come forward and share their ideas and feel like, even if it goes wrong, whatever, we're just going to do it. Like, I think that's what we need more of.
Well, thank you. By the way, if you guys are wondering, what did Matthew make? I didn't make that game. I just found it on a thing, but I really like that game because I like music, so I was very happy to use that game, and we'll see what happens with the next Christmas shower. Maybe it can make another appearance. I don't know. Um, yes, so I think that's really important. Also, we are, there's JTEs and ALTs, but I think people need to remember that we're team teaching, and with teams there needs to be collaboration and maybe some more equalness. So I feel like that's the struggle that many ALTs experience, because we want to be respectful to the JTE, but there are some things that we should fight for, like I want to do this or that kind of stuff. So if you want to do something, tell your JTE, discuss it.
Yeah, I mean, one of my ALT, I did the same as you. I said ALTs instead of JTE. Yeah, with one of my JTEs in my elementary school, I've been working with her for all the time I've been here, which is quite rare. Like, if you don't know, in Japan, staff tends to switch around quite a lot. They get assigned to other schools. Like 3 years tends to be the most they end up at a school. And I've been here for 4 years, so like obviously, technically, I should have lost all of my original JTEs. They should have changed by now. But my my JTE in one of my elementary schools, she's part-time staff, so she just gets more contracts. So we've been working together for a long time, and I think we've built up in that time like a really good relationship together, and that sense of team teaching and collaboration is really good. Like, I can just be like, should we do this? And she'll be like, oh, that's a good idea. Like, yeah, like, and then she might suggest something, and we end up like, especially like over time, that collaboration, like we both get each other now. So, there's no more awkward, like, of course that environment at the start is always going to be a little bit, nerve-wracking, because you're going to be worrying, like, am I stepping on this person's toes? Am I getting them to do things that they don't really want to do? But if you start that way, it's going to be awkward for a little while, but just little by little, you end up becoming someone who knows the person you're teaching with. And then like, if this is, if this isn't going to be good for them, if they're going to be like, well, I don't really like doing that, they'll feel a bit more like they can say that to you. So right from the start, like, really trying to get that environment, even if it's awkward at the start, is like, you got to do it. Otherwise, it's going to be not a great experience.
Yeah, I have experienced losing my English teachers. Mind you, they weren't really English teachers, but they did the English classes in elementary. And even actually I found it better to not have an English teacher, because now I have an English teacher who that's her specialty, is all English. That's all she does. And it's actually, I feel, way more restrictive on my end, because she has her own way, and I feel like I can't like say anything to her where I could suggest things with my other teachers, like that were homeroom or maybe not specialists in English. So I do miss that old environment. And also at my main school, like my JTE that I have, we just really connected very well. And unfortunately, they have to, I think they're on their third year, so they might have to leave. And I'm not looking forward to that, because we are like so good. Like, we work so well together. It's always fun teaching with them. So maybe when the new JT comes, I will have to like really introduce myself and tell them like, this is what I can do, this is what I want to do, that kind of stuff, to really like make it better, because it's gonna suck if I have like just less freedom in my main school, because it's more fun when you can talk and like, oh, I want to do this, or oh, like, can we do this? And like, yeah, I think like just having the discussion is really good. And there's only so much you can do as one person, so it's really nice to have another person to talk to or to teach with. When you have that really good connection, it's fulfilling in a way. When you don't, it's difficult. So you'll have to find other ways to be fulfilled. Like, I always remind myself that I have really good kids, even though my teachers annoying sometimes.
Yeah, I've had the big one for me was at my main school. I had my old JT, he was there for 3 years, and he really, really, really depended on me because his English was of all the JTEs I've had, it was definitely the lowest. Like his, I mean, I don't want to be rude, but his English ability was basically you couldn't call him an English speaker. He'd speak to me almost all the time in Japanese, and his English was very, very broken. Like the times where he had to speak English, he would have to think a lot about it, and it would be very, very, slow to come out. Whereas I think most JTEs, in my experience, like the level of English it's pretty good. Like it's okay. You can't in the public education system in the middle of Gifu, like you're not expecting, like star English speakers who are gonna like be able to say anything in English. But generally speaking, it's a good standard. But he was really, really low, and he needed help. Like he really, really needed it. Like he just couldn't. I remember him like immediately in the first year having him. That was my second year when he first came, and he'd like text me, and there'd be quite basic things, like like whether he's been marking an exam, and the kids wrote an English sentence, and there's like for most people it would be a clear error, and he would text me and he'd be like, "Is this right?" And of course, the first thing that will come to my mind is like, of course, it's not right. Like it's not even close to being right. But then you realize that actually, like, I'm going to be important for like. And then after that, I was like, look, how all those English sections and stuff, just save them for me, and I'll mark all of those. And that went really well. So, and we got this great understanding. And for 3 years, we had great classes. And then, of course, he comes to the end of his contract and he's gone. And it's like all of that repertoire and partnership that we built up is just now like, there's a new teacher coming, and is it going to be the same? And the new teacher was the exact opposite. His English is surprisingly good for like a person that's never been to an English speaking country. He's been in Japan all the time. He is quite fluent. Like it's a little bit textbooky English. Like, it's not always the most natural of English, but it's really good. And his grammar as well is down. Like he knows if kids are getting it right or wrong. Like he always knows. So suddenly I'm like, well, am I not as needed anymore? But again, like as when he's come, I've just been like, look, I do this in the lesson, and I do this, and I do this. And he's like, well, like we'll keep that, but maybe let's do this differently. And yeah, for all that nervousness, I actually now we have really good lessons. Like it's almost like a duo of the lessons. Like he knows that he can just rely on me to speak, so he'll be like talking, he'll be like, what about you, Liam? And then I'll talk, and I'll be like, oh, and we'll kind of have like these English conversations in class, and the kids are all like listening and and trying to pick up on it, and they're like, the kids are shouting out too, like, oh yeah, me too, and stuff. And it's been great, honestly. We've only been working together for like 4 months now. I can't remember, but yeah, it was. But I've had the opposite experience as well, where in one of my elementary schools, the new JTE came like a year ago, so a year and 4 months now, and he is a really nice guy, but I would probably say his lessons are a bit on the boring side. Like he just uses the textbook only, and he'll just kind of talk a lot with the kids and probably use too much Japanese. I'm not an all English all the time kind of teacher. I think Japanese can be really useful in the classroom, but like I think like 90% of that class is Japanese basically. So I suppose with him it's not gone the best, but to be fair on that front, because I'm quite busy with other things in my life, I've probably in that area been like, well, if I take my foot off the gas in this school, I'll have less responsibility and a bit more time to get university work and Japanese study done, which is kind of my fault as well. But yeah, it can definitely go two ways.
Mm-hmm. So I guess the thing was just advice, maybe. So just be active in your role. Tell the teacher in a polite manner what you want to do, what you think you can do. There might be moments where you have maybe a difficult JT to work with, but in most cases, they'll be wanting your help. They'll discuss with you, they might contribute. Um, so that's always a good thing to know. All right. Thank you. So you talked a little bit at the end about your, Japanese studies. And I know that maybe at the start of your journey here in Takayama, when you first started JET, that you did not have a good Japanese level. But may I let everybody know that this person passed N1, the N1 JLPT, which is the top of the top. So, what did you do to get to that level? Everybody is curious.
Yeah, I know it's been quite quick, like with learning Japanese, but I think the fact that I only started learning Japanese so before I came to Japan, all I did was learn hiragana and katakana, and just a little bit like of some of the more basic kanji. Like I just started a book, but I couldn't really keep to it, and I think the benefit of starting Japanese when you're in Japan is it's a lot more fun. Because I remember in the UK, I did actually have a plan. I was going to be like, oh yeah, like, cause I got held back a year by coronavirus before I came to Japan. So I'm like, oh, plenty of time to learn Japanese. And I did like nothing. Because it was just like, you just kind of sat there and you're like, well, why am I doing this? Because I'm not in Japan yet and I feel like I'm not learning anything and like it's not going in and I'm not. So then I got here and I'm like, oh my God, like, especially in the middle, like there's no tourists here or anything. It was just still the coronavirus era. So it's just so Japanese, like everyone. It's less than I thought. Like, I suppose we get a bit arrogant as English speakers and we think, yeah, people can kind of speak English anywhere. But oh my God, in Hida, like, not even a word, like in a lot of places. And I realized quite quickly that if I don't learn Japanese, this is going to probably be a bit miserable and I'm going to be a bit of a burden. And, I'm going to have to get my supervisor or other people to do everything for me. And then it's really fun because like every day you learn something and you're like, all right, I'm going to try this out today. Like, and then you do it and they understand what you're saying and you're like, oh my God, like I actually learned something useful. I can actually use this. And you just build up like for me, I did a lot of research before I came to Japan on how to learn Japanese rather than actually learning Japanese. And like, obviously immersion is massive. Like, you just have to be interacting with it. You can't, it's like learning a language is closer to swimming than it is like, learning science or something. Like, you just have to do it. You have to be in it. You have to be around it. You have to build up those like muscle pathways and stuff to know that to get this meaning, I need to say this. And you need to, so for me, it was just, at school, try and listen to when people are speaking in the staff room, try and listen, try and pick up what they're saying. Go home, watch anime, read a book in Japanese, try and speak some Japanese if you can, like in the weekends, especially in my first year or two. I would like my first week, I just got out of my apartment, walked down to the nearest izakaya and just walked in and then just started speaking to people there. And it was terrible. Like they immediately realized that they weren't going to get any communication, that they had to use translation apps and stuff to speak to me. But I could hear them speaking to each other and I was around it and I was part of it. And like, just quickly, I remember getting here and people would say, nani nani janai, which for other people just means like, it is not. So like, if you could say like, I don't know, neko janai, it's not a cat. And like, I couldn't understand what that meant, but they're using it in like almost every sentence. And like, just, if I read that in a book that janai means like something is not, well, it doesn't really hit you that hard because you're not having to use it in action. When everyone around you's saying it and you're like, if I just knew what that meant, I could communicate and I could understand more. It's like the best motivator to like keep learning. So yeah, I think if anyone's thinking of learning Japanese or anything, like just put yourself in it's all about the environment. It's not so much about study methods are important, but the environment's huge, I think.
There's a concept in linguistics that's called the noticing hypothesis, and I think that's what you're talking about, where you hear a word, like maybe if it's a song, I've experienced it, like you hear this word over and over and over again, you're like, what is that word? And your brain's like, it picks up on it, and then you search it, like for example, it's Hoshi, which I heard about in a lot of songs of like, oh, it means star. And then you hear it again when you know the word and it's more concrete in your head because of that. Like, oh, I know this. So you're listening to the song in my example, you hear it a lot. It's becoming more concrete in your head. For you, it was maybe just hearing Janai all over again, or like, what is that? What does that mean? And then you have to search it and like, oh, that's what it means. And then you hear it again and again and again, and it becomes more concrete that way.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like I've learned. Well, I'm doing a university degree now in TESOL in teaching English, and like obviously that ties into wider language learning. Like right now I'm doing a module on second language acquisition, so like how you effectively pick up another language, and like that kind of the difference in sort of like when you're a little kid, you need to notice everything when you learn your first language, right? Like you have to be able to communicate, so you're noticing every single thing, and there's a need. Like it's not like, I don't know, if I just tell you that today a cat walked past my apartment, like, all right, cool, but I don't really need to know that. So your brain's probably going to discard that quite quickly. It's not going to be information you're going to hold on to for all that long. You're probably not going to remember that little detail in like 3 weeks. But if that knowledge is like the difference between being able to communicate an idea or get something, or, you know, like a little kid, like if they can't say like, oh, give me this or I want this, then they're not going to get something that they want. And that sticks in your brain, you know. And it's the same with language learning. Like there's nothing wrong, by the way, with like learning from a textbook. It can be extremely useful. But I think it's just important to bear in mind that if you're just flipping to the next chapter of Genki and seeing like, oh, like this is how you say I want this in Japanese, or this is how you order something in Japanese, compared to like being in a restaurant and having that like mental pressure of being like, if I don't get this right, or I don't say this, or I'm not able to communicate, then there's a real actual like problem that's going to occur. It's like your brain starts to become more acceptive of new information, and it holds on to it for a lot longer. So yeah, it's really and like you say, noticing, just like hearing the things around you and being like, damn, they say that a lot. Like, I need to know what that means if they say that a lot, because I want to know what they're saying.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of saying it. Like if you really need that information and you don't have it, your brain's like, I have to learn this, like, in order to survive. But if you're just like flipping to the next section and learning, like, at least in Genki, there's like always like a word list, and there's like 20 words and they don't make sense at all. There's no real context of it. It's like you're learning the word for chicken and then the next word is department store. It just doesn't make sense. So your brain's like, meh, I can go to sleep. So that's why immersion is very important, because it forces you to do a lot of situations and that kind of stuff. And you learn maybe a lot. I think like in my first time in Japan, I felt that I learned Japanese exponentially when I came. And like I wasn't even thinking of doing a JLPT, and I decided maybe in January, February to do it, and I passed the N3. Yay. I still haven't had the luck for the other JLPTs that I've taken, but that's okay. I'll let you guys know about the third time I take the N1. Third time's the charm. Yes, but it's very important to be put in situations, and immersion does that for you very easily. So that's a good way to learn Japanese, I think, just living in Japan And again, bringing the textbook to life in a way, like you're not just using the textbook, but you're going outside, you're exploring, you're like, oh, like I can ask for chopsticks now, and you learn that in your textbook, but I'm going to go to an izakaya and I'm going to ask for chopsticks. And you'll learn a lot more things that you maybe weren't in your textbook too. So that is a good thing to do. So if you're in Japan right now, you're like, I don't know what to do. I can't learn Japanese. You can learn Japanese. Try to just live in Japan. I think that's a good way to do it. All right. So we talked a lot about, yourself as a jet, but as we said at the start of the the podcast, you will be turning the big 30 very soon. It's very exciting. We've all been looking forward to. I think we have. Mainly, I mean, I've been joking about it, but I think, as I said before, your 20s are very busy, and I think that maybe now the 30s are the new 20s. That's my opinion. We, in our 20s, are busy getting started in life. We have a lot of stuff that we need to do. Maybe for me, for example, I can't even speak English anymore. I had to get degrees. Like I got my undergrad degree, and then I did my master's and learning how to do taxes and cooking and laundry and all that kind of stuff. You kind of learn in your 20s. So when you're in your 30s, you have all that under your belt. So I think that maybe the 30s are more of a chance for just to relax, to have some fun. And what do you think about that?
I'm thinking like you're right about the 20s being like learning a lot, especially since I came to Japan. Like you have to live by yourself and everything. You can't really like, if something's difficult, I can't just ring my mum anymore and be like, Mum, how do I file this in the Japanese bureaucratic system? Because she's going to be like, I have no idea. But for me, like 20s was always a bit of like I plan out my life a little bit too much. So like I have very, very like strong images of like what I should be doing right now and what I should be doing tomorrow. So like for me, I kind of allowed my 20s to be like, let's kind of find out what you want to do. Because like I was really different in my teens, by the way. Like I was a really, really like kind of bad student and stuff. Like not kind of just like really, really, I was always a little bit smart in school. Like I did quite well, but I used that like not in a good way. Like for me, I was like, well, I'm kind of smart anyway, so I can just wing everything and I'll probably be all right. And like I didn't do as good as I could have. And I think in my 20s, I got into my 20s and I'm like, kind of regret that. Like not because I got set up pretty well in my 20s. I got into like a decent company, but I just felt like I hadn't tried hard at anything. And like what have I got to be proud of? Like I just, some people, okay, maybe they didn't do as good as me at school, but they actually really like worked really hard to get there. And I could see those people. I could see people around me in my life who maybe weren't as like smart as me. Sometimes they were much smarter than me, but I could see that they were working really, really hard and that they were getting places. Like it was really paying off, and I could see it in them. And I was really like moved by it. I was like, God, like I don't want to keep going and like half-assing everything and just like not try my best. So I think coming into my 20s, I was like, okay, I want to change that. And I want to, no matter what, I don't need to get set up in life just yet. I don't need to like have a family and a wife and 3 kids and, like a dog and everything. But I do want to try hard at something. I want to make sure that I can look back at my 20s and say, like, oh, I worked hard. So I put that into practice. And unfortunately, like, you think, well, I worked hard in my 20s, so my 30s is going to be fine. But it's looking like the next year of my life is going to be the busiest year of my life easily. And I don't think it's going to let up anytime soon. But I think in your 20s, you build up the resilience and it makes it a lot, like if you really try hard. And I feel like now when I was 21 years old, if I did a hard day of work, I like, God, like I just don't want to do that again, and it's so annoying, and I just want to stay in bed. Whereas coming into my 30s, I'm in that mindset where if I get into I get into my bed after a hard day of work, I'm like, God, that was a great day. Like, more tomorrow. Like, I want to keep doing that. I want to keep going with that. And like, so I think, yeah, saying anything about my 20s, it's like been a whole 10 years of like learning how to be an adult and learning how to value more difficult things and not just be lazy. And I'm hoping I can carry that on in my 30s and be more mentally strong.
I guess, well, as you have proven a little bit, your life doesn't end when you turn 30. Like a lot of stuff continues or gets harder. So I think this year is a transition between your 20s and your 30s, and also transition between Jet and other stuff as well. You're doing, and he does a lot. I don't know how he lives. This guy does Jet. He's doing university as well, and I just can't believe it. Like, how? And then also, like, maybe I don't know what year you were, but you did RPA too. It just, oh my goodness. So he does a lot of stuff. Yes. So very exciting to see what happens. And yeah, I'm wondering, we talked about the 30s, but I'm curious about, your 20s. Between the year, when you turn 20 and 29, all those years, what was your favorite year and why?
Good question. Honestly, probably like 28, 29. Like, I've been feeling like my life's just been getting better and better. Like, I am really like, yeah, just happy in life. Like, I feel like I'm, I've always been someone who's like wanted to like kind of have a family and stuff. And like, so my girlfriend now, we've been together for a little while, and we're thinking of settling down and starting a family and stuff. And like for me, like knowing that I'm moving into that and like it's taking shape has been like, wow, like kind of a journey and really entertaining. But I will say that my early 20s was pretty damn fun. Like, not gonna lie, my like you just can't be 22 again. Do you know what I mean? Like, being young and like going out all the time. And like, I lived in Manchester growing up, and like Manchester's famous for nightlife, and it was just so fun, like all the time. I suppose like you look back at, to be fair, you look back at some times in your life, and you tend to see the good parts more than anything. You tend to look back at your early 20s and be like, oh my God, that's the year I did that. And that's the year I had that experience. But I also remember in my early 20s and stuff being very, very anxious a lot. And like I was just saying before, like feeling like, oh God, I'm not set up for this. I have no idea what I'm doing. And like, how am I gonna, be an adult? Like, there was a lot of that. But yeah, I'm gonna go with 29 or 29. So this year, I think this year has been like just amazing. Like, I've just been, I don't know, it's just felt like the year where I'm the most like me, I would say.
Well, I guess I have something to look forward to because I will be 21, 29. I wish I could be 21 again. I'm 29 next March. Hoof. And then I'll have my transition period. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Um,
So mean with it.
it just feel it's. I just remember like after I was like, oh my God, I'm 26. Like, man, 26 is a cool number for me because that's my like champagne birthday, my golden birthday. So that's like, you know what that is, right? Oh, so it's like the date. How to explain it?
The month, the day of the month.
The day of the month and your age match.
Yeah, I'm 28.
So you've had yours already. I had mine 2 years ago. You did too. No, like 2 or 3 years ago. Um,
I feel like you make me older every single 28 was a
I'm
year.
sorry. I'm bad at calculation. Um, I assumed that your birthday was also the 26th. It's not. That's my birthday. Um, that was last year for you. Yikes. Uh, I'm just bad at calculation. I'm so sorry.
Yikes. Because you got it wrong. Like, yikes.
No, yikes, because I got it wrong. You're not. I'm the same age. Why would 28's not that bad?
To be fair, my girlfriend is always like my girlfriend's like basically the same age as you, and every time I'm like, yeah, we're the same age. Like if we like meet, like I don't know, if I meet like when I first introduced my girlfriend to my mum, she's like, oh, how old is she? And she's like, yeah, she's like the same age as me. And my girlfriend was like, don't you ever say that again. Don't let me ever catch you saying that we're the same age again, old man. So
That's great. I mean, we're close in age, but we're also so far. I mean, you were born in 1995,
yeah.
so you had a little bit more experience without the internet than I did. So that's kind of crazy to think about. The 90s, great time to be born. But yeah, so you talked about it a little bit, being young and that kind of stuff. But for people who, are in their early 20s and that kind of stuff, what wisdom do you have to give to them?
Okay. Aim high. Like honestly, I know it's probably said too much, and like I feel like when things are said too much, they become like nothing statements. Like sometimes you hear like I don't know, follow your dreams, and you've heard it so many times throughout your life that it just doesn't have any impact anymore on like when you hear that phrase. At least for me. But like, uh, I think in my when I was younger and stuff, I really gave myself a lot of like I always thought like it won't be me. Like that was my early thoughts in life. Like there's no point in doing all that much or trying to achieve all that much because I'm not that guy. Like I felt like that when I was younger, and I compared myself a lot when I was younger to the people around me, and like in the most toxic way, I think, because I think I looked at you know I was doing pretty well given some of the circumstances I had as well. Like I was doing all right. I would just constantly look for the person who's doing better than me, and be like, God, like if only I could be him. If only I could do that. And then my next thought would be, but that's not me. Like I'm not smart enough, or I'm not charismatic enough, or I'm not cut out. I give myself like kind of a mental excuse for it. And then like I don't know, across the way, like I don't even have anything like to like show that it like I don't have any like super major achievements or anything to be like, why can't it be you? But I just feel these days that like, why can't it be me? Like, why am I counting myself out? Like when I was younger, like I can probably do anything. If I set my mind to it, I can probably do it. Like anyone can do it. Like you just have to have that ethic and stuff. So I think for young people in the 20s, like you're young and you don't, and you get easily trapped by like really negative thoughts, and you tend to get sucked into those like pitfalls. But just don't do that. Don't compare. Just think that just aim high and don't worry about anyone else is doing. Just do what you want to do, and yeah, by the time you're in your 30s, you'll be way better for it. Like you'll be way better for it. um I mean like yeah, in my 20s, like getting into my 20s, I was like super chubby and super just staying at home all day and being like, God, I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to do a master's degree. I don't want to do any, like I just did a load of uni. I just want to chill out. I just want to have fun. And even if I did all those things, I wouldn't do very well anyway. But now I don't. Completely different from that. So aim high.
Good advice. Yeah. I think, well, in my own experiences being in my 20s, I don't think I I had like a pretty clear vision for what I wanted to do, and that has changed. Um like when I graduated from high school, I knew that I wanted to I'm going to be a Japanese professor. So I had to, finish undergrad. Then I went on to my master's, did that. But then during my master's, I kind of had trouble writing my thesis, and I kind of realized that I needed a break from academia. And now I'm thinking maybe, being a professor isn't exactly what I want to do. I know that I want to be in education, so maybe instead of being a university professor, I'll be a college professor or a high school teacher and teach Japanese. So that's kind of what I've been doing. But I think something that, well, I'm almost 30. So my advice is to take opportunities.
Yeah.
Like for me, I've never been abroad ever. And during my first year of university, I never was abroad. And I was like, well, I'm learning Japanese and it's my biggest passion in life. I want to go to Japan. So I did in my second semester, and or my second year, sorry. So I was thinking then that, well, I only will be there for 4 months because I'm not too sure if I'll like Japan, and maybe if I do, I can extend it. And immediately I did, because I was like, this is great. This is so fun. And I met so many amazing people, and that like changed my life for just like making that decision. And I grew so much in that time because, again, even though I could speak Japanese a little bit, it wasn't that great. So my Japanese language level grew. I became way more independent because you have to when you're in a different area. Like, you have to survive. So I physically changed too because I stopped drinking less milk and I walked a lot more. So I was so skinny. In fact, my friends, like, when they saw me on Instagram, they were worried that I wasn't eating. I just was eating a lot less. So, drink less. Well, actually, I stopped drinking less milk when I got into university, because I didn't want to pay for it. But I lost so much weight.
I drink a hell of it. I've like today, I've had my protein shake. I have a coffee which I load with milk. And to be honest, like before you came in the store, I just like got the carton and just went glug, 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 and like just downed like half a can of milk. So
Protein, yes. So that has yeah, I think, well, I have bad experience with milk, kind of. Well, like throughout my childhood up until high school, I was a milk drinker. Like at least 3 glasses of milk per day. I'm not even kidding. So at the end of my grade 12 year, I was Mr. Chub Chub. Like, I was big, kind of big. I'll show you pictures after and you'll be like, what? But my family can attest, like, I lost a lot of weight in my first year of university, like maybe 30 pounds. So, but then I lost more in Japan the second when I came back, and my friends were so worried. And I did gain weight again, and then I lost it, and I really lost it since April. As many of you know, I've been on a cut. And also, like, yeah, in my 20s, like my early 20s, never ever would I have thought that I was going to do powerlifting. Never ever. I was like, I don't exercise. I hate the gym. And just, one little thing happened, and now I go to the gym with this guy too. He is a great asset. He helps me a lot. So thank you for being my coach as well.
I feel like I'm mean. Like I make you. Like sometimes I'm like, come on, 2 more or something like that, and you're like, you're gonna cry.
Cry? No, you give really good advice, and I haven't felt like I was gonna cry yet. Anyways, although when you told me to increase the weight on the pec fly, I tried to, but I could not do it. So after you left, I put it back down. But I have been trying since that day when you told me, like, you can do more. I was like, I can't do more. So I've been trying to do more. What's it called? Drop sets. Drop sets. I've been trying to do more, and my arms are gonna get so big. I'll let you all know. It's gonna be exciting. Drop sets are the secret. So if you're a young 20-year-old, don't waste your time. Drop set. All right. So what are you most looking forward to do in your 30s? What are you looking most forward? for?
Think having kids, like I've always been like always since I was like 13, 14, 15, I don't know, even before that, like I always had it in my head that I was going to have a family. I want 2 kids. My girlfriend wants 3, but I feel like
I think three's good.
3's good, but like, God, like kids are expensive these days, but anyway, if I somehow walk into a nice bag of money, then I might have a 3rd, but like I'm really, really excited. Like I love the idea of like being a dad, and I don't know, like kind of the image of like taking my kid out to, practice football, or like just go to the park, or that like it makes me so excited, and probably that. But there's a lot of things, like really, really settling into my career, and like having like I'm proud of my job now, but having like a career that I'm like, wow, yeah, I'm really proud of this and I did really good, and having like a nice home, whether it's an apartment or a buy a house or whatever, just like with my like wife and family and stuff, just sounds like what I want to do next. So yeah, really excited for that.
Wow, that was really heartfelt. Nice. I don't know what to say. I had tears in my eyes. That was kind of okay. I think we have been talking for a little bit, so I think we'll end this show soon. But I have some quick fire questions, as always, for my guests. And, this guy, he's been living in Japan for a bit. So, first question, what is your favorite place in Japan and why?
Good question. And it's a hard question as well, actually, because there's a lot of good places. I'm going to go with top 3. Let's do top 3. Hiroshima is really good. Great city. Good food, really good vibes. Number 2 is Takayama, because I love Takayama and it's a great place and it's got beautiful nature and it's great. Number 1, I'm going to go with Kanazawa. I love Kanazawa. It's such a cool city, and beautiful surroundings. It's not quite as big and like as crazy as other Japanese cities, and I don't know, it's just like the ideal location for me. I think it's an amazing city, so go there.
Nice. I have been to one of those locations, and that's Takayama, where I live. So, I'm lying. I went to Kanazawa, but only for like 3 hours. Yeah. So
A few problems.
I had a terrible time, and I think I talked about it on the show. I don't know what episode, so you can listen to all of them to figure that one out. But and I've entered into Hiroshima, the prefecture, but I haven't been to the city, and I would like to. But I keep wanting to go to North Japan because I've not yet visited. I think the top, well, before I went to Saitama, was Tokyo, which is boring. So I wanted to go to other places. So Hokkaido is on my list. Tohoku is also somewhere I want to visit. So I'm going to try and go there. But yeah, Hiroshima is good. Kanazawa is great. Takayama, please visit. Those are good. All right. What is your favorite place to eat in Takayama and why?
Konishi. Konishi is a little... I talked just before about like on my first week in Japan, like coming out of my apartment and going to an izakaya, like before I knew any Japanese. That's the place, Konishi. It's in a little area of Takayama called Enako. It's a little bit far from the center. So if like anyone's coming, I do recommend it though. The people in there are like the nicest people you ever meet. They're so welcoming, and the food is amazing. Like everything in there, like they just make like it's just an old man and woman, and they're just in there, and they'll just be like, all right, even if it's not on the menu, they're like, oh, we can do that. And then they'll pull a load of ingredients out, and you can just watch them all making it right there. And it's like it's like a mix of like home cooking, but also like super like high level. Like you can tell they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? And like everything tastes good. The beer's great, and the vibes are the best. Go there.
Nice. I haven't been there yet, so you're going to take me. Thank you. Okay. Having good mastery of Japanese, would you learn another language?
Yeah, and I probably will. I probably do Mandarin next, because there's a lot of what do you say? Like crossover. That's not the word, is it? Similarities, yeah, between Chinese and Japanese. Like not in the spoken language at all. They sound completely different, but the writing system is, they use a lot of the same characters, so it saves you a lot of time. And obviously, it'd be great to know Chinese is just going to get more important in the world. So
我是土豆，我是马铃薯，what was it? 新年快乐. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
You agree. For those who don't know what I said I'm a potato and Happy New Year. Yeah, I agree. Those are the only things I can say in Mandarin. And I think I can only say I'm 22. I'm not 22, but when I was 22, I asked my friend how to say how do I say I'm 22? And that's the only number I really remember. So forever in Mandarin, I'm 22.
You don't have to tell 3 lies in Mandarin because you're not 22, you're not a potato, and it's not New Year.
Well, when it is New Year's, I say Happy New Year, and sometimes I am a potato. Okay, like sometimes it's just, you're gonna have a really exhausting day at work, and you just go on the couch and you become a maling. It just happens. So it's not a lie. Thank you. Okay. Finally, besides learning Japanese, what are your hobbies?
One of my favorite hobbies is to say increasingly strange things to Matthew and see how he'll react. I do say many strange things to Matthew, but I like playing football. It's football, by the way. It's not called soccer. It's called football. Do Canadians say soccer? Yeah, right. Oh no. And then weightlifting. We talked about it. We go to the gym together. What else do I do? Do I do anything else? I don't really do anything. Like, honestly, I'm really boring. Oh, but the guitar. Matthew's pointing at my guitar, but like, I'm not very good at it. I just bought one recently because I wanted to, try again. But I used to play in high school, but I wouldn't. Well, I guess it's my hobby. I guess we can count it.
I'm excited to see his concert. It's gonna be sold out because there's only a few off chairs. Kidding. All right. Well, that was I hope you guys have really received all the wisdom that Liam had to share. He is a man full of wisdom, not just because of his age, but what he has experienced. I'm not bullying you.
That's Matthew's hobby.
No, it's not. It's not my hobby to bully my friends. You're friends when you tease each other, okay? So we tease each other quite often. So
he teases me. I don't do any of that.
He's lying when he says he doesn't tease me. It's a big lie.
It used to be that everyone teases Matthew, but now Matthew has like reached new levels of sassy, and I feel like now the bully is Matthew. He's the ringleader,
I cannot confirm nor deny. Yeah. Yes, it's been a great time. I'm really happy that I came to Takayama last year because I've been able to meet Liam and other great Jets in my community. So it's always a great time to talk to Jets and talk to other people about their experiences in Japan. I hope to have more guests in the future. Thank you again for coming on the show to talk about, age-related stuff and jet-related stuff. It's been very useful, very helpful. I'm going to take some stuff away, and I hope you all do, wherever you're listening from. And until then, I will see you later.